YouTube. Welcome. Happy New Year. And how's everybody doing this morning? My name is Yo, and this is Fading the Public, a sports betting channel where I'm going to be going over games every day. My personal expertise is in basketball and baseball, but I also touch on college football, NFL, NHL, and everything in between. I'm going to be going over games. As you could tell from my channel, it's Fade the Public, but I don't just bet on underdogs. I don't just bet on favorites. I try and find that spot where everybody, their mama, their auntie, and their uncle is on it. Then I go the other way. So I'm going to try and show you guys how to maneuver and how to go about this, be profitable every season. Without further ado, let me get into these 8 games on the NBA slate today, and let's get started. Up first, we have the Chicago Bulls in Washington taking on the Washington Wizards, and the Bulls are laying 6 points. It seems like an easy spot to take Chicago. I see it. The Wizards are the worst team in the league, 5-25 record. So that's ridiculous. But I don't think they're a 15% win-loss ratio team. I haven't liked what I've seen from the Bulls too much recently. They just went to overtime with the Hornets the other day. So I think the Wizards definitely covered this 5.5 line, and I'm taking a risk to bet on them with the money line. I'm going to start out the year. This is my first highlighted play of the day, the Washington Wizards money line against the Chicago Bulls. Next up, we have the Orlando Magic in Detroit taking on the Detroit Pistons. Pistons laying 2 points. It's somewhat of a pick'em game. The Magic looked good for a while without Paolo and the Wagners, but recently I haven't liked what I've seen from them. On the road this season, they're 7-9 ATS. I would take a shot with the Pistons here. I'm not in love with the game, but I like Pistons -2. I think it's the style game where the Pistons are up big or maybe 10 points during the game. Then Orlando makes a run towards the end of the game, and the Pistons end up finishing a 4-point win, something like that. So I would lay the 2 points with the Pistons. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets in Toronto taking on the Toronto Raptors. This one is another pick 'em here. And I would roll with Toronto. I like what I've seen from them. It's a home game. And Toronto is 11-5 at home ATS. They've looked good. I've been waiting for them to fall off. I've been one of those people like, is Toronto, can they keep covering the number? But I don't think Brooklyn's the one who knocks them off. So I'm going to roll with Toronto here plus the 1 par money line. You could roll the same odds for the money line. So I would take that moving forward. Next up, we have the New Orleans Pelicans in Miami taking on the Miami Heat. This is an easy game for me. Miami's been looking really good. Tyler Herro's been balling out. New Orleans still looking battered up. Let me look at the injury report here. So Brandon Ingram and Zion still out. CJ McCollum out. Excuse me, Jose Alvarado. CJ McCollum's playing. Jose Alvarado out. Excuse me. CJ McCollum will go in this one. But I would lay the -8.5 for sure with the Heat. They're moving in 2 different directions. Heat are looking better and better. Getting to the back end of the season, they're kind of finding that leader in Tyler Herro. Yeah, no, I'll take the Heat -8.5. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz in Detroit in Madison Square Garden taking on the New York Knicks. The Knicks laying 13 points. It makes sense because they like to beat up on bad teams, and I could see the Knicks easily beating the Jazz by 21, 23 points, but I couldn't lay that. I would have to take the Jazz plus the points. 13 is just too much. I know they're on a back-to-back, but Lauri Markkanen yesterday, I think he shot 5 for 16. So I think he's going to be looking to have a bounce-back game. He's a solid player. Good players like that, they're going to come out after a poor shooting performance, surprise you at 26 points or something like that. Jazz lose by 8, so I'll take the Jazz plus 13 points. Next up, we have a Texas matchup, the rivalry. We have the Dallas Mavericks in Houston facing the Houston Rockets. Houston laying -5 points. It's tough because it's a rivalry game. Both are defensive. Well, the Rockets are a defensive style team. I think the Mavericks defense is underrated. I like Houston -5. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Mavericks. Let me see their ATS record. So Houston is 10-6 at home this season, and hmm, it's not really a home game because it's Dallas. But I would roll with Houston -5. But the play that I personally like more is under this 222. So I would take the under 222 in the Mavs Rockets game. I think it's going to be hard fought with no Luka, a little bit of a lack of explosiveness on the offensive side. So I'll roll with the under in Dallas Houston. Next up, we have the Atlanta Hawks in Denver taking on the Denver Nuggets. Denver is great and they're a machine at home. Me personally though, I question. I'm like, why is the line 5.5? And then I look further. Denver is only 6-7 ATS this season. The Hawks are 8-8 on the road ATS. So it's tough. Denver hasn't looked like themselves at home, and the Hawks have been looking better. I see the line. I have to take the Hawks. Not only the +5.5, but the money line. I'm seeing +200 in spots. So that's going to be my second highlighted play of the day. And honestly, I forgot to mention the Heat -8.5. I love that to the point where that will be highlighted as well. So we'll have these three highlighted plays: the Wizards plus the 6.5 money line, the Heat laying the 8.5, and then here the Hawks covering 5.5 or money line for the +200. I love all three of these plays going into the new year. A little bit of the fade the public sauce. And then last but not least, our last game of the day, it's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers in Sacramento taking on the Sacramento Kings. Sacktown, baby. The Sixers 6-point dogs, 6.5 point dogs here. Kings laying 6.5. A season ago without Embiid, I would consider it, but this season laying 6.5 with Sacramento, that just sounds crazy to me. So mandatory take the 6.5 with the Sixers. The money line, it's possible. I mean, I know they're bruised up, but Maxi's a hooper. Paul George is a hooper. No one on the Kings are hoopers. Keegan Murray's questionable. He's their best shooter. So I have to look at this +6.5. And really, I like the money line for +210 as well. I'll give that an honorable mention as a highlighted play. I'll leave it at our 3 highlighted plays that we have. But the Sixers get an honorable mention. At the end of the day, if we're up on all our plays, we're going to sprinkle Sixers money line. And that's all of the games for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is awesome. This is my goal in 2025. I've been sports betting successfully for a long time, but to bring it to you guys and give you guys some of the sauce, some of the action, and kind of let you in on what I'm thinking, and then for you to be able to see the results here live, it's just awesome. So thank you guys so much. This is Yo with Fade the Public, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.